far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. Really very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists. They've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again. And that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe. Thank you.
What I tell y'all.
Right, Shalom, I'll give it all praise unto Bashim Shabashim Kwa Kodash. I want us unto the apostles of great millstone, and our honest brothers that are pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And above everybody are coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh Bashim Shabashim Kwa Kodash. Giving all praise unto Bashim Shabashim Kwa Kodash. It's going to be a video based upon the clip that you've just seen. First and foremost, I want to preface this by saying we don't condone any type of violence, any type of violence against anybody, first and foremost. And these are grimy Negroes, these grimy individuals, these grimy people, heathen or otherwise, that are out here. The Most High is gonna see to them in the time that we're getting into. So I'll start off the video by saying that. The second thing I'm gonna say is, one of the mantras of the elite is that they never let any crisis go to waste. They never let a good crisis go to waste. So whether something is authentic or whether it's not authentic, the reality of the situation is that they're going to use whatever situation that they have at their disposal to further their agenda. Remember, the scripture says there was no beast more subtle than the red Hebrew Edomite Esau within the book of Genesis, the 3rd chapter. He was the most subtle of all the creatures that the Most High made. Right? He was shrewd. He uses his means to maneuver and deceive and be deceptive. The book of Revelation, the 28th chapter, it speaks about that, how Esau was going to be let loose a little season so that he should be deceptive for a certain dispensation of time. So we're living through that time of deception, and we don't really know what we see sometimes to be real, but certainly the results that we see use these either authentic crises or inauthentic crises come to pass. We certainly know that they're in line with the agenda of the elite. So let's speak about the agenda of the elite and how it relates to this video that we're doing here right now and the clip that we've just seen. We understand that the agenda of the elite is to come down having great wrath. And why is he coming down with great wrath? Because he knows he has a short time. Esau's got to make a move on the prophets, and he's got to be justified in making a move against the prophets. What we can't really see via the legislation that they're passing and via the move towards a technocracy, we're seeing the move to have it to where very severe punishments are going to be afflicted on those that bring about terror, okay? However, the term terror is a very broad term under the definition of their own laws and their bylaws. And this is what you're going to see a push towards. They're going to start pushing a situation out here where it's going to become more and more blurred between the guys that, like he says, go out there and commit senseless violence, and the people out there that are just regular individuals out there that are speaking up against the atrocities that Esau's getting ready to bring down. So you're going to see more and more of a thing of, and again, they use the sensationalizing, okay? They use the sensationalizing, they use the emotional language. Notice he said the Ukraine thing, and there's already an emotional background to that term Ukraine, obviously, because you had all of the migrants that they took over from the Ukraine, and you see the so-called relationship that Zelensky, the guy that's out there within the Ukraine, and how the so-called US is supporting their fight. All the while, there's an agenda why they're supporting that particular fight, but they're so-called in cahoots with each other, right? So there's an emotional thing that's being played there. That's why I said, yeah, it might be authentic, but then again, it might not be authentic. Okay, we certainly know that they've marketed it in a way where the question is going to be asked. Wait, hold on a minute. The Ukraine thing is mixed up in there. Okay, the emotions are already evoked in there. All right, this person's, they're refugees, so you can understand. There's a play on words there, if you will. Okay, in my humble opinion. But to bring it back to the video, like I was saying, yeah, it's gonna start off with these things, whether authentic or inauthentic. Yeah, they're gonna start off with, let's move these criminals off of the streets. Then they're gonna broaden the term of a criminal. Remember, a lot of the people that were speaking up against the stab and jab, they was branded as criminals during that particular time period. Okay, remember that. It's not too long ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, that a person that was saying, look, boom, I don't believe you should be taking the jab, right? Because X, Y, and Z. Those were branded as so-called dysfunctional people. A lot of people that was so-called standing up against the jab, they was getting shunned. And lo and behold, all of that information came up about the jab, okay? And a lot of times your account was getting banned on YouTube, right? Your videos was getting taken down from YouTube, right? You post a post on Instagram, it was getting taken down. Your whole page gets taken down, right? Just bringing out information. So this move, and again, it starts off with something that might seem, oh yeah, this sounds sensible, okay? This sounds sensible. But remember, Esau plays a thing of Hegelian dialectics, right? Which means basically they're going to apply a pressure from above, pressure from beneath. They're going to give you an antithesis and a thesis. What's the thesis, right? They're saying, look, man, we're going to get rid of these so-called troublemakers, right? These senseless murderers, right? What's the antithesis? The antithesis is total domination and control. So what's going to be the polythesis? The technocracy. Okay, this is how Esau operates, man. He's going to give you two opposing ways of doing things, and you're just going to get used to just the new way of things that he always wanted from the beginning. That's what he wanted from the beginning. A total dominance over people. And again, I got to quote that scripture that I quoted earlier. The book of Revelations, the 12th chapter, right? What does the scripture say? Right? He shall come down having great wrath. Yeah, right now they're using these guys out here to push their agenda. Yeah, they're using these guys out here that are senseless. This individual is senseless, okay? Right? That is a very terrible thing that's happened, and the Most High is going to judge that particular person for what he has done. But let's not move, right? Let's not move, right? The needle so far beyond in understanding that when he's talking about being vicious, and when they're talking about bringing about peace on these streets, you better believe it's something that you've never seen before within your lifetime. We're talking about a total military dominance over the people. This is what they're bringing about. Thus saith the scriptures: a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. And this is what's coming down the pipeline. Love to hear these other camps speak about these particular things. Love to hear them speak about those particular things. It seems like only Great Millstone be speaking about these particular things and connecting the dots. Right? The guy is saying vicious. You think they're going to speak about that? The guy is speaking about having total dominance and control so that they have their version of peace. What do you think their version of peace is? What do you think their version of peace is within 2025? What do you think that means? What do you think it means when they say we got to get these criminals off the streets? How broad do you think that term is? Yeah, it encompasses this guy that's done this horrible thing. Yeah, when he's saying I want to come down vicious on this guy that's done this terrible thing, yeah, it encompasses that. But what Jake don't want to ask is, who else? That's what Jake doesn't want to ask. He doesn't want to ask, well, who else does this entail? Okay, but that's what's coming down the pipeline. This is what Esau's getting ready to bring down the pipeline, man. He's getting ready to be vicious, not just to these so-called senseless individuals, but he's getting ready to be vicious to everybody. And that's where really I'm gonna end the video off, man. Okay, you gotta read in between the lines. You gotta understand where these people are going with this. Yeah, they might use a little false flag here and there. Yeah, they might use the emotional, right, situations that you got out there, these sensationalized situations that you got out there. Yeah, they might even use a real thing. They might even use an authentic situation that's happening out there upon the face of the earth. They might really be genuine, right? It might really be a genuine situation. But guess what? What's coming down the pipeline is still going to be the same. Total dominance over everybody, okay? Total vicious way of doing things. A totally terrible way of doing things, right? And that's what Esau's finna to bring about upon his face. Without my say, all praise unto Yahweh, my Shai, Bashim, Korash. The bonus unto the apostles, a great millstone. Right? Honest you brothers, if you're pushing this truth in sincerity. I'll see you on the next one. Shalom.